Thank you, Nick, for having this conversation with me today. Nick, wanted to ask you, in the context of the commercial market as you see in 2021, what are some challenges and problems in the industry from a broker, carrier, insured perspective that you see are very relevant problems that we need to solve?
Yeah, I think, Pankaj, a lot of the commercial problems extend from prior years. They've just sort of carried over, and I think they'll extend out into the future. So probably the biggest challenge with commercial is that the exposures are more complex, and there's just no way around it. The risks are bigger. Being able to quantify them is more difficult because of their complexity. So more complex buildings, more complex contents, more complex loss of use, business interruption. And so I think what we're going to find is a lot of carriers, and we've seen this specifically in the cat area, but also now D&O and other areas where they're going to start pulling back. So carriers are going to be less willing to offer a lot of their capacity in significant amounts. It's going to put a lot of pressure on the broker community, specifically in that they're going to need to find more carriers. It's probably going to take more work to layer in and get the appropriate coverage. But it's also going to take, I think, a tremendous amount of work just to compute how the exposures will lead to potential losses and what the potential premium might be and how to communicate that to the carriers, because the carriers have the same problems, right? So I don't think the brokers are off the hook there. I think in the past there was this, I think brokers did a fairly good job of being able to take fire risk and being able to take results from cat models, interpolate what a premium might be, and then counsel their clients. The risks are just getting more complex, bigger. I think there's going to be a challenge all throughout the insurance stack and the vertical on how do we compute what the risk is, how do we advise them, and then how do we go find capacity in an economical way that makes sense. So I'm envisioning more smaller limits, more carriers, and potentially brokers advising, taking the bull by the horn, so to speak, and getting more involved in the computation of risk and potentially advising them into captives and other risk retention groups, those sorts of solutions when the insurance markets themselves don't make any sense.
Awesome. That's pretty comprehensive. So that was a good segue into my next question, which is around how do you see IoT and Purple Land solution benefiting these stakeholders, and what do you like about Purple Land?
Yeah, well, there are certain lines of business that have always been fairly challenging for particular reasons. Hey, there's no one in the building, and a water sprinkler goes off, or the water goes off, or there's a fire and nobody notices it, and the loss kind of grows out of control. So what I have appreciated about IoT and smart devices is that I kind of think of it as the computers or the bot or the robot that replaces a human being. So in situations in property coverage where property is false, we now have eyeballs. We have the technology that can tell an insurer, a fire station, a police station, a property owner, hey, something's wrong. Something's not right. I detected something, right? That is a huge leap forward from prior years. So, vacant property where it's occupied, but the owner's not there. So the incentive for risk management sort of disappears when the owner leaves. Well, if we can replace the owner with a robot, a bot, a machine, a camera, a detection device, well, that's almost as good. It might actually be better than actually having the owner there, so to speak, in a lot of regards. So I view the smart devices as a giant leap forward in risk management, loss prevention, loss mitigation. And I think that's going to do a lot to give carriers confidence to unleash more capacity. It should give property owners a lot of confidence in potentially holding on to some of their risk. So the captives that I talked about, maybe larger deductibles, things like that, because they'll have the tools available to them that they've never had before to be able to prevent and mitigate risk. And if they can do that, if the carrier markets are not appreciative of that, if brokers see that there's not some sort of premium relief, rate relief when it comes to that, then there's an alternative where the property owner can hold on a little bit more to that risk because they know they now have technology that can help them prevent and mitigate it. And so that's what I like about it. So it gets to complexity of technology. And what I appreciate most about Purple Ant is its agnostic ability to take all sorts of smart device data and basically like a funnel, center it down so that it's legible, so to speak, for everybody in the stack there. So between the property owner themselves, the broker, the carrier, everyone has one source of data. They don't have to worry about all of the different technological components or how the data is being transmitted. Purple Ant will simplify that and provide one data stream, simplifies it for everybody in the stack.